We've heard from ambassadors, ministers. Now it's time to hear from entrepreneurs. It is my great delight to introduce the chairman of the Global Board of Directors for the Entrepreneurs Organization, Mr. Brault.
Imagine, if you will, a young girl named Naya. She's 11 years old, probably about this high. She's got a really bright smile, twinkle in her eye, and that boundless energy that 11-year-olds have that we all wish we could bottle up for use in later life. She wakes up. She's excited because it's the first day of school, and she's really excited to see her friends from last year. Her mom walks in her room and tells Naya that she can't go to school this year. Why? Because the family can't afford to send both her and her brother and pay for schooling. So Naya will stay home, work on the farm, and cook and clean. That twinkle in her eye started to dim, and she realized her life will never be the same again. Ambassadors, ministers, distinguished guests, I wish I could tell you I was making that up, but I can't. It's a shocking statistic, but in Africa, nearly 50% of the population is under age 15. 7 out of 10 rural Africans, children, will never set foot in a school. In the West African country of Mali, 69% of the children go to primary school, but less than half of them will continue on to secondary school. Why? The inability to pay school fees, the lack of middle schools, and gender inequity. This trend is even more disturbing when you realize that for every year of secondary education, a child improves their future ability to earn income by 20%. The country of Mali wasn't addressing this problem, but I'm happy to tell you that someone is. The Mali Rising Foundation is 14 years old. It's achieved a graduation rate of 1.5 times the national average. They've educated over 17,000 children and built 22 schools, each benefiting an average of 170 students a year. Was the driving force behind the Mali Rising Foundation a government entity? No. Was it a huge international corporation? No. It was a groundswell of discontent within Mali that drove significant change. No again. The Mali Rising Foundation is funded completely by private donations, many from generous individuals. One of them is a gentleman named Fred Johnson from Utah. He is an entrepreneur, and he is a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization, who I represent here today. In 2013, Fred invited his fellow entrepreneurs from his Utah chapter, and they raised $45,000 to build a middle school that is both accessible to rural children in Mali and waives fees for families that can't afford it. When other EO members around the globe heard about this, they jumped at the chance to help. They raised the money and built a second school. And then it happened again and again. In the past 5 years, entrepreneurs, members of the Entrepreneurs Organization from 30 chapters around the world, have built 6 schools in Western Africa. They did what people said couldn't be done. They improved the lives of thousands of school children. Why? Because no one else could seem to figure out how to do it. So EO entrepreneurs rose to the challenge, because giving kids a chance to learn and improve their lives is just the right thing to do. Entrepreneurs are a force to be reckoned with. We can drive change to help achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Why? Because entrepreneurs don't shy away from a challenge. Entrepreneurs aren't bureaucrats who say, you can't do things that way. In fact, when entrepreneurs hear those words, it motivates us to prove them wrong. We say, oh yeah? Let's figure this out, because I think we can do it that way. We'll make it work. Entrepreneurs are wired to think differently. It's in our DNA. We've been told no so many times, we're immune to it.
We say yes.
Yes. Entrepreneurs invest our lives and our life savings into our companies. So we really don't have any choice but to figure out how to achieve success, and very often with very little in the way of resources. No isn't a challenge for us. No isn't an answer for us. It's a challenge, and it's an opportunity. Let me tell you a little bit about the Entrepreneurs Organization. We are just entering our 31st year. We are more than 13,000 members in 54 countries. And all 13,000 of us run successful small to medium businesses. And we're all brimming over with that unique entrepreneurial DNA that helps make the world around us better. Entrepreneurs are disruptors. Think about how Uber disrupted the ground transportation industry, or Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry. When something needs disrupting, entrepreneurs have the mindset that can make it happen. Poverty, hunger, health, education, inequality, climate change. These are all the areas that cry out for disruption, aren't they? EO's 13,000 entrepreneurs, along with the owners of other micro and small, medium-sized enterprises worldwide, are the ones who will and can disrupt them. The ICSB believes that small and medium-sized business owners will be the key players in achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. And they're right. And I know they're right because I've seen it happening firsthand at EO for more than a decade, and not just at the leadership level. Our members are entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to running a business than building a better business. We understand that we have a need, an obligation, but a desire to look beyond the walls of our businesses and make a bigger impact in the world. This does not necessarily mean that we hop on a plane, though we sometimes do. We're often addressing challenges in our own backyard. We have Alex Yester-Benetsky of the EO Cincinnati chapter formed the Info Trust Foundation, through which his basket brigade feeds over 400 homeless families each Thanksgiving. We have Alex Garcia Burgos, who is this year's winner of the EO Global Student Entrepreneurship Awards, who invented a product that utilizes space technology, hydropearls, to provide all of the nutrients necessary to grow an entire life cycle of crops without added water in some of the harshest climates on Earth. Vishal Kordia of EO Pune led a delegation of craftspeople and entrepreneurs to reintroduce village crafts and entrepreneurship into rural parts of India. As a result, 50,000 people have supported local trade and brought hope to where it doesn't exist. How much better would the world be if we applied our entrepreneurial minds, passions, and spirit to the manner in which the world's problems are solved? The challenges presented by the UN's SDGs are bigger than all of us. But when we pool our spirit, our drive, and our entrepreneurial DNA, they're within our collective reach. The only thing better than all existing entrepreneurs working together to overcome challenges would be if we found or trained more entrepreneurs to join us in solving these problems. The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in the developing world, but when your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents have all lived life under similar challenging circumstances, it's hard to see how to break that cycle. That's where the ICSB comes in. Just as we heard in Thursday's plenary sessions, nurturing the entrepreneurial spirit and providing the tools to help new entrepreneurs grow social impact businesses that will contribute to solving our global challenge, one individual, one entrepreneur, one business at a time. Entrepreneurs are a force to be reckoned with, a force that can make an impact on the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. At EO, we asked each of our 173 chapters around the world to adopt a specific SDG target to champion. In Toronto last month, those chapter presidents added their signatures to EO's pledge to support the SDGs, which was signed by the global leaders of our association at the UN reception last September. From personal conversations with entrepreneurs around the world, I've discovered that most are inspired by the thinking of people like Gandhi, who said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. These members want to leave a legacy by making a mark, by being significant, and making a difference in the world. So who can help us achieve those goals? The ICSB. This is why we're excited to declare our commitment to the ICSB today, because the UN set the vision of sustainable development by 2030. It will take the right partnerships to achieve the vision. Seem like a lofty goal? Maybe. But on May 25th, 1961, President John F. Kennedy, as a visionary, committed to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. It took a visionary to place the goal, and then a combination of researchers, scientists, and action-oriented creative thinkers to make it happen on July 20th, 1969. Steve Jobs was the visionary and the entrepreneur. Steve Wozniak was the science behind Apple. And the combination as a team, their successes and their failures, were a catalyst for change. And they changed our world. So as the chairperson of the Global Board of Directors for the Entrepreneurs Organization, representing our 13,000 members worldwide, I declare the following. The Entrepreneurs Organization, in support of the International Council for Small Businesses, recognize the vital role of entrepreneurship and micro, small, and medium enterprises in driving positive change in the world and accounting for a large share of the world economic activity, can play a fundamental role in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. EO joins ICSB to declare our joint commitment to maximizing positive impacts for people, communities, and in the environment through entrepreneurship. Our world is teeming with catalysts to incite change and contribute to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Poverty, hunger, education, inequality, climate change. The scale of these challenges are vast, but it starts with each individual, each entrepreneur, each one of us here in this room. Let's start today to be significant, challenge the status quo, and make a mark. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Brian, well done. You got your crowd cheering for you. This is fantastic here. And it's being streamed over 140 countries. So some people are probably screaming, jumping on couches, and doing all the crazy stuff. And we are just delighted with EO.